On today's episode of Watch Chair Go, we work on the R8 and hopefully make some progress since we've been talking about it for a little while.
Just gonna lift her on out.
What is going on, guys? I'm Watch Chair Go, and today I'm here with Zach. Gabe said he's coming over, so we should have everybody here in a minute, and we're gonna try to pull this thing tonight. So I think all we have to do is pull these 4 bolts. The problem is accessing them and how tight they are. So we're gonna figure it out real quick. I wish we had that Milwaukee 1/2-inch impact because it would rip this thing open with no problem. Let's get the engine stand out. We're gonna have to close the garage. We're gonna do a little cleaning. We made a quick Ace Hardware store run and we grabbed some shackles, and these shackles look like they should fit perfectly through the mounts that are on the Audi engine. So if I can get these unscrewed, I guess I'm gonna have to go grab some pliers to open that one up. We're gonna take our leveler. Thanks, man.
I got you.
Yeah. Then we're gonna take our load leveler and we're gonna set it up across the top of the engine there and run these shackles through the factory engine hoist lift points. There we go, that loosened it up. And this should be ready to go. We figured we'd do this properly and use shackles because it should just make everything a lot easier. And we can get the chain height all adjusted before we start lifting. It is chilly outside. Also, we got the leveler here. I think I'm gonna need to shorten the chain immensely, but let's pop up on here and see what we're dealing with. The shackles we got are too big for the chain. You think Ace Hardware is still open? We got one of these in there, so now we're basically just using this as a nut and bolt, which is unfortunate and not at all what we had in mind. But it is secure. I can guarantee that that giant pen will get this done. But yeah, we're just gonna continue like that. Hopefully the other one fits wherever I put it, right there. And let's see what happens. So we're gonna pull these triple squares that are holding on the engine mounts. Oh, wow. I was expecting those to be outrageously tight. And I mean, those are factory torqued. You can tell they haven't been off. They've got torque marks on them. So we'll just pop those guys loose. And there's 2 of those on each side with an alignment pin. And I think this is gonna come right apart. So there's a gigantic bolt running through these. And of course, I don't even have a wrench this big because it's honestly huge. So we're trying to make this crescent wrench bear down on it through this little slot you have to get the wrench through. And then I think we're there. Like, there's no play in the crescent wrench really. So that's as good as that's gonna get. So don't pull the car off the... Oh!
Yay.
And she is off. Look at that. Look at that washer that holds that thing together. Okay. There we go. Here's another really big washer. Set that aside, right over there. And I picked it up. I'll just, all right. You get one end.
You're so strong.
I'm actually picking up a lot of it.
I'll get that end over there.
Hey, I want you to get that end because that one looks like the light end.
I'll probably just pick up the leveler.
Cool. If you could just stick like a couple fingers on that and just pull.
Pinky.
Oh yeah, that should do it, I assume. If you've been working out, you got it. I mean, even if we don't take the engine out, we definitely got it out because I just lifted it.
That's true. We're done.
We're good.
All right, dude, I'm headed home.
All right.
Peace out.
I'll clean my hands up, go to bed.
All right.
Engine hoist. The cherry picker is coming back. So, unfortunately, in this case, obviously my garage is basically pointless because nobody bought these motorcycles yet. The Ducati might be sold. Dom the Grom needs sold. If you guys want that, just send me $5 grand. You can have one of the best 300 Groms on the planet. And then I can get my whole garage cleared for this engine pulling process. But we have to open the garage and put the cherry picker outside pretty much so that we can get it in here because it's just, nothing about this is conducive to pulling an engine. We just don't have the room to get it done. So we're gonna have to work with the lift almost outside the garage. And then we'll have to slide it back all the way until it's on this big angle my driveway's on, and then push it back up into the garage. So we'll be blocking the engine hoist with wood at all times so it doesn't roll back down the driveway. Now for the fun part, we gotta set this guy up. Can you tilt backwards? Perfect. And I'm gonna spin the front end. Right where it needed to be. You definitely need a actual like a A-frame hoist or something like that, or a crane, something that's actually designed for this. So that's right about where the lift starts, right there. And we bought this ratchet strap right here just a second ago, 3,300 pound, big boy. And we're gonna wrap that around the transmission. And then I think I'll use this as the other lifting point, and like I'll put the ratchet strap right there so it shouldn't slide backwards. And as we lift on the front end, we'll use the ratchet strap to crank the transmission up. And that should solve our problem here. We moved everything out of the garage. So the bikes have disappeared for a second. The turbos have all moved over here, and they're all still set up just like they came out of the car. And this Jag transmission's still here for some reason. So my game plan here is to hook that right there probably. This is a nice strap, even though it's way too long for what we're doing here. There's nothing really in the way. That bolt right there is clear. I lifted it like this much and it lifted evenly, exactly the way we wanted. My flawless engineering trapped the clutch line underneath the strap. So I have to maybe loosen the strap real quick or let the lift down and pull the clutch line out.
Flawless.
Flawless. All we had to do was lower it a little bit and pull the clutch line out. It took like 2 seconds. So, oh, whoa, whole car's moving.
Not good.
That is sketchy. Oh, we're dumping more coolant too. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, look at this. It's coming out. Look at that. The motor mounts are just floating up there. I know all of this is loose, so we're good there. We can start feeding the clutch lines through. Zach, if you want to feed those clutch lines through, it is time for that. And I just have to pull this coolant line and this coolant line, and I think that's it. I think the engine's out.
Which ones?
I think we've made progress.
And remember, no build is complete without putting that good old K&N air filter sticker on. That's right.
Put that on the side of my car, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on me.
Oh, it's on. What other evil you got going on?
Well, this hose clamp I just pulled off. Instead of unscrewing, the screw came out of the clamp.
That is outstanding
So
and stellar.
I had to rip the clamp apart with a screwdriver. But that's the last coolant hose, I think. I just have to pry the hose off this T. The car is clearly completely moving as the engine moves. So, what do we need to pop loose to get this drive shaft off there? And we did end up pulling this whole center drive shaft cover because there's one hose in there that I think needs to come off as well, but we'll see. It may not even matter at this point. I just need to get that thing loose. It's floating, we think. There's one more thing hooked up to it. There's this wiring harness that the manual says nothing about, and we honestly have no idea what to do, but there's the CVs sitting there. You can see the engine mounts. I mean, the trans mounts are way off, and the engine mounts have like a 6-inch gap. So I think we're actually done, and we're ready to start moving backwards. There you go. Okay. I do think we're gonna have to go up more, but it's hooked on something. We've got some great progress, and we just jumped under here and drained down the rest of the oil, so that oil pan's full. The sump lines were being a nightmare because they're hard lines, so I just went ahead and pulled those Torx T30s, and there's a bracket holding those in the bottom of the oil pan. One more coolant hose that's teed into another another one from the turbo system, of course, not a factory one. All the factory lines are out, and maybe one wire over there that we think is a ground, but it could be battery positive. But I think it's just the ground.
But once we pull it back a little bit more, we'll actually be able to actually reach in and see it and stuff, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Last thing. That's it. After that.
That's it.
So, we're getting there.
I mean, it may be cool, but it's no liquid ice.
It's no, yeah, that's for sure. Liquid ice hoodie. There's only one thing left. One simple thing. And I think it's that positive battery wire that runs all the way to the front. We haven't found a place to disconnect it. We've accomplished the unthinkable.
The unthinkable, the undoable.
Yes, other people have done this. But I think everyone else doing this usually has a V10 car, because everything about that car is better. The battery positive cable from the starter, which has to snake all the way back around and then has a clamp that's impossible to get to. We had to cut the clamp. It's impossible.
Yeah.
There's a heat shield covering it, and it's the heat shield for like the motor mount, which is under the heat shield for the exhaust, and the exhaust has to come out of the car. So it was actually impossible, so we had to cut it. Yeah. And I mean, luckily we did it very carefully and got that knocked out.
And you wore safety glasses.
Yeah, it happened. I'm sad. It's sad to say safety third didn't apply this one time. And it's out. I mean, the battery cable, oh, it also had to come off the alternator after that. And there's no way to disconnect it without like pulling it from the front of the car. And it's not mentioned in the manual anywhere.
No.
Not one mention.
What pre-tell is this last?
That line right there has to come off.
What?
Yep.
What line?
It's the one that feeds into the turbo oil sump. Okay. And you're clear. You might actually give me one more if you can. I'll push that line underneath it. Cool. Okay, you're really clear. Okay. Okay. So, just don't go too far. I'd say we should stop right there. Careful, careful. Steady, steady.
Just oil pan real quick.
I'm just saying steady for no reason here. Okay. Okay. Oh, an R8 engine. All right, so I'm gonna try to slide the front end.
Okay.
If you want to keep it off the SVX.
Yeah.
I know, right? The Audi R8 V10. Oh, we should probably lower it a little bit. I don't want to leave it up on the lift all night, but
V10.
I said V10. I wish. Oh man. So there you go. You can finally see the front of the engine. This is the only way you can see the front of the engine. I think you have to do this just to change even the serpentine belt. AC compressor is in there somewhere. I got it.
Okay, got it.
Under control. 100 times more complicated than pulling anything else. So it's probably like the people that do this all day long have lifts, and if you had a lift, it'd probably cut the time down just insanely.
But also got a couple of special tools.
Yeah, I mean, if you had the Audi tools and the lift. Good work, Gabe.
Thank you, sir. Good work to you.
And Zach did good work too.
Yes,
before he bounced on us today. Yeah, finally got the supercar in the garage with the big hole in it. That's everyone's favorite shot, is like everybody has to stand in the engine bay. And we should stand in the engine bay too, huh?
I suppose we should.
Yeah, we'll have to hop in there. But first, I'll go to O'Reilly's tomorrow and get more absorbent and keep cleaning. It's done. Look at all this extra stuff that wouldn't be there if the turbo system wasn't there. Like, this stays. All the rest of this is aftermarket.
It's ridiculous.
It's a mess. Insanity.
And I hope we remember how to put it all back.
Oh, well, we don't already. I can almost promise that we don't know how to put it back. I should go put this underneath the engine. Next up, we unbolt the trans from the engine, unbolt everything off the engine, get the other engine over here, and start figuring out what all has to transfer, because it's quite a bit. And I also have to go buy a passenger side exhaust because the cap melted internally. Yeah, $1,000 already. And they say the AC compressor breaks all the time. And of course it can only be changed if the engine's out. $1,000. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope you're back in the next few days as we start to tear this down and reassemble it. We'll try to take you along every step of the way. And please like, share, subscribe, do whatever you want to do. And I will talk to you next time. I had to use my shoulder because everything's covered in oil. Even like I'm just covered in oil. Gabe's covered in oil.
Yeah.
Everything's just, and coolant.
It's
a mess. Oh look, that water pump is the perfect height to set the engine on. I'll set that under the engine so nothing happens at night.
nice.
Cool. Let's go work on something else.
Yep.
I hear there's a Silverado that wants our help. Sounds more fun than this.
Engine swap.
Engine swap.
Okay.
Oh, what's up, Gabe? What are you doing? Okay. He's just being weird, that's for sure.
Your front door should be open.